This is Rob's Road to 700 Credit Repair with special guest and CEO Billy Alt. He's the founder of the company, and um, yeah, so we're gonna get rolling, and then you got the screen, Billy.
Yep. All right, so y'all, what we're going to go over tonight is how to legally and ethically remove negative items or entries from your credit report. And what I'm going to go over with y'all is what my team and my staff do. We use what are called Metro 2 disputes or factual disputes, which are, again, they're legal, ethical, morally correct. Like it's your right to ask to see certain things that are being reported about you. A lot of other companies, or when you dispute online and stuff, like a lot of other credit repair companies, what they'll do is they'll send a letter that says this is not mine. That's not a factual dispute. That's not a Metro 2 dispute. And the credit bureaus are so sophisticated now, they have scanners that pick that up and kick those back as what's called a frivolous dispute. So all of our disputes and what we're going to go over tonight, it's based under the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, FACTA, and FCBA.
All right, and so like I said, welcome in everyone. I'm your host today, Rob Goodwin, and we got a special guest, Billy Alt, CEO of the company, and then he's a consumer credit expert, witness in both state and federal court. He's recognized consumer credit expert and FICO expert, two-time international best-selling author, over 25 years of real-world credit and mortgage experience, Texas Real Estate Commission instructor, home buyer and realtor credit 101 class. He's got over 5,000 real estate transactions closed, has helped over 20,000 people repair their credit reports. And then, he's featured credit expert on various podcasts, YouTube articles, etc.
I think it's very important that you know who you're doing business with. So that's a little bit about me. I mean, if I'm going to listen to somebody, I want to know their credit, who they are, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's a little bit about me. I'm the founder of 700 Credit Repair. We also own 700 Business Solutions, a few other companies. But my credit repair company, 700 Credit Repair, we've been a top 15 credit repair company award recipient since 2016. So however many years that is. I'm personally a 5-time credit boot camp guest and attendee. That's like the elite of the elite in our industry go to and speak at. I have 20,000. My company has 20,000 documented credit reports or contracts signed, repaired. We have a 78% deletion rate. That means everything that we dispute, 78% of it's coming off. If somebody has 100 items, I'll get 78 of them removed. Actually, we're probably like 84, but I don't like to I like to be under the radar a little bit and overperform. My company's licensed and bonded. I'm a FICO expert. My wife is. Certified through all kinds of different CRMs. Again, a boot camp recipient, and like I do various TV shows and stuff on behalf of my company. So tonight's agenda, we're going to go over the Fair Credit Reporting Act. We'll do an overview of the FCRA. We're going to go over the FCRA dispute process. If you're going to dispute items on your credit report, you need to understand what the dispute process looks like and how the intake of letters and items, like what that looks like, because each credit bureau, they take in probably about 100,000 disputes a day, and they kick probably 60,000 of them back. That's what they do, and they can get away with it. So you want to be one of the ones that get in, because once you get in to the dispute process, the results are obviously better, and they're easy at that point. We'll go over your credit score makeup, which is FICO. We'll also go over some FICO facts. We'll go over the 3 things that you can do and utilize right now to remove negative items from your credit report. And then Rob thought it would be funny to throw in some credit myths and give me a test. So he thought I didn't know the questions, but I'm the one operating the screen because Brittany gave it to me. So I already know all the answers. So but we'll still go over. Isn't that great, Rob?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
All right. So my company, 700, my paralegals and my admin staff, when we dispute items, for clients, we dispute them under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. All right. So the first off, legal and factual consumer disputes utilizing your consumer rights and laws of the FCRA are what are considered legal and factual disputes, right? So like it's your right to say you have 247 consumer rights when it comes to consumer credit. And so it's your right to say like I want proof of this account number. I want proof of this date open. I want proof of this date of last activity. You have legal and factual rights, and you can dispute items based on that. The Fair Credit Reporting Act, the FCRA, is where credit report repair begins. Like that's the first step. You want to utilize those laws. It's overly quoted, but equally underutilized. Companies and people who dispute, they think they use it, but they don't. They don't do factual disputes. They're doing disputes like, that's not mine, that was my cousin's, that was my aunt's. Well, go sue your aunt. Like that has nothing to do with anything. It really doesn't. And so those disputes come back as frivolous or verified, you know. So the FCRA is really underutilized because not that many people really understand the laws of it. The FCRA regulates how credit bureaus, credit reporting agencies treat consumers and how they report items. A quick overview of the FCRA. The FCRA ensures that consumers can acquire their consumer credit reports. So yearly, by law, you're entitled to one free credit report, and where you get that from is annualcreditreport.com. So if you want a copy of your current credit report and you don't want to pay for it, or you don't want to go, you know, get a membership somewhere, you can go every year to annualcreditreport.com, and that site will take you directly to TransUnion, directly to Equifax, and directly to Experian, and you can get your annual report through each one of them. It doesn't have a score, but it shows what the score really is irrelevant. Like if you have bad items on your credit report, the score is not going to be good. You know what I'm saying? So the report's more important than the score. In fact, there's three major credit bureaus. There's a lot more than this, but the big three are TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, and then you have, so those are three credit reporting agency companies, right? They report the data. They don't make a score, they just report the data. They're just like reporting it. FICO, that was invented in like 1954 for Montgomery Wards, actually, they are a completely Fair Isaac Corporation. They're a completely independent company, and they have an algorithm, and they take that data from the big three or from the credit bureaus, and they mix it up and they do their thing, and they say like the likelihood, what a FICO score is, it's your likelihood of that guy paying me back for a loan versus a score of how I pay my bills. An example of that would be if you have maxed out credit cards and you pay everything on time, you can still have a low credit score because of the utilization. So it's based more on like his history and his current obligations and what's currently going on. What's the likelihood of him paying me? An 800 is a pretty good likelihood. A 400 is a pretty bad likelihood. So the FCRA overview applies to the credit bureaus only, not to the score, because the score, FICO, and there's other scores advantage that like Credit Karma uses, but nobody else does or whatever. So the FCRA, again, it applies only to the bureaus. The score has nothing to do with that, right? The FCRA regulates who has permissible purpose to acquire a consumer's credit report, meaning who can pull your credit report. A utility company can, other subscribers of the bureaus are creditors, somebody, you know, loaning you money to get payments back, you know, so they regulate who can pull it and who can't. Collection companies can pull it, you know, so like I can't go pull somebody's credit. I have no permission to do that. The FCRA also protects consumers from unscrupulous credit reporting, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight.
Sounds good.
If I can find the next slide. Okay, so sorry about the eyes. So the FCRA, I'm not very formal, y'all, so like forgive me, but like I know my stuff. That's all. That's all that matters. The FCRA and the dispute process that the credit bureaus must follow are this, y'all. And this is where the dispute process comes in. This is like what we're going to start talking about is how to write good letters, right? So the dispute process, they must follow the following things. It details how a credit bureau must handle consumer complaints, right? So it says if I complain about it, if I disagree with it, like the FCRA and their dispute process, it details how like my stuff, they can't ignore me, right? When a consumer disputes a credit file item, the bureau must note within that file that the item is in dispute and begin an investigation, which must be completed within a reasonable amount of time. And here's the thing, everybody thinks it's 30 days. It's not. It's a reasonable amount of time. A community standard that we've all adopted over the last 40 years has been 30 days, right? That's like the universal standard is 30 days. But, and like Brittany knows this as good as anybody does, right now during the pandemic, they're using different like codes as far as how Metro 2 codes are given. And right now the reasonable amount of time on average is about 90 days unless you call them on it. So if you just do a standard dispute, assuming you get in and don't get kicked back, then their reasonable amount of time is 90 days. But then it's crazy because the creditor only has 60 days to respond. So like if they ask and receive 20 days, but they don't open it for 70 days, it's like already too late. So it gets so crazy and so confusing. But right now, because of the pandemic, the reasonable amount of time has went up to 90 days. And like it's not killing us on our results. It's just taken longer than ever, and it's harder than ever to get into the bureaus. Our results and our percentage though are better than ever, if that makes sense. So like we're staying in front of it, we get it, we understand. And again, I'm a consumer credit expert witness licensed, offer testimony both state and federal court, right? So like I have to take tests and I have to know certain things, and I'm involved in certain stuff. So I truly understand the dispute process. So like that's our biggest benefit. The FCRA, also the Bureau must then inform the consumer of the action that was taken. So the FCRA says like, okay, now that they disputed it, what action was taken? Was it verified? If it was verified, you have to tell the person that. Was it modified? Meaning like, did I remove some slow pays from an account? I got to tell them that. Or was the item deleted or deemed frivolous? Frivolous is an awful provision that allows the credit bureau to basically say you're not being serious. So like rookie credit repair companies or whatever, like there may be a credit repair company in Florida and you live in Ohio and you sign up with them and they send your dispute letters out, right? And so the first thing the credit bureau does is they scan the letter and they look and they see like the customer's return address is Canton, Ohio, but it got scanned in Pensacola, Florida. Like that's a credit repair company, right? That nobody drove from Ohio to Florida to put a letter in the mailbox. So they flag and catch stuff like that. So and they call that frivolous. And the reason it's frivolous is because per their rules, nobody else's, that per their rules, if you dispute items on your credit report, they have to come from you. Well, that's not the case. So again, they're looking for reasons and ways to throw that dispute out and not have to even mess with it. So one of three things happens, or four things, I guess. Either it gets verified, modified, deleted, or the letter's deemed frivolous. The consumer at that point can then exercise their next set of rights. So what that means is on your letters, you send a letter. If it gets deleted, great. Or you send a letter, and if it gets verified, like your letter 2 would be, hey, Sears, I understand that you say that this account was verified, but what method of verification did you use? Can I see the verification? What verification did you receive? Because when I contacted Sears or whoever it is direct, they didn't verify anything. In fact, they told me they didn't have any verification. So I'm curious as to what it is that you have. You've got 30 days to send that to me. And so what we do is we continue to repeat that process and get more aggressive with our letters, right? So the entire process looks like that, but as far as what we actually dispute, or the three things, the three items that you need to like specifically use to your advantage and look at, are as follows. The Fair Credit Reporting Act specifically states that every item reporting on a credit report there's three things, right? They have to report 100% accurate information. The bureaus can only report 100% verifiable information, and the bureaus can only report 100% timely information, right? So let's break those three things down. The first one is 100% accurate information. So your rights as a consumer are to ask for proof and verification of every aspect of that account. As a factual dispute, for lack of a better term, that's what it's called, I guess. It's not like a better term. That's your right. You can say, Experian, I need for you on this collection account to verify this account. And if they come back and they verify it, then you say like, okay, well, let me see the verification. And then your next letter would be, okay, so I got that verification, or I didn't. If you didn't, then your next letter is like, I'm going to sue you. But if they did, then it's like, okay, can you please show me the date of last activity? I want to make sure that at the date of last activity is accurate. Can you please verify that for me? Or the open date, or whatever else is on the credit report, the balance, the limit, you can dispute and ask to see proof or accuracy, I guess, of every line item of that account. So the very first thing is it has to be 100% accurate, right? So next, it has to be verifiable. So accurate and verifiable by definition are two different words, right? So every part of the account must be verifiable, meaning the account number, the date of last activity, the open date. And just because ABC Collection Company says that that's the account number, that does not mean it's true. Just because they say this is the date of last activity, that does not mean it's true. And this is so very important because, like the collection companies, as an example, they'll change dates and they do stuff. So you go to verify that stuff, and you'll realize that, like, even if it's off a month or two, like they have to remove it. And with, I think, 4 million pieces of data being transferred a day, like there's mistakes that happen anyway. So like nobody's perfect, you know what I'm saying? So it has to be 100% verifiable. Number three, the credit bureaus can only report 100% timely information. And what that means is, again, the dirty little secret collectors don't want you to know is they will redate collections, right? So like, why? Because the law of diminishing applies. The older a negative account is or gets, the less it hurts you. So if I go out and I don't pay a doctor bill today, it hits my credit report, boom, it's banging me really, really bad, right? But then the older it gets, like 4 years from now, I'm past the statute of limitation, it now becomes junk debt. And so it's hurting me less and less and less and less. It's a 5-year-old collection account. What happens is collection companies, when they buy those debts, they'll show the date of last activity is like this month, because they know it's going to look to FICO like a brand new collection account. It's going to hurt your scores. It's going to really hurt your scores if you have a lot of inquiries, or if you have a lot of high balances. Think about this. If I have a brand new collection, whether it's brand new or not, if I have a brand new collection hit my credit report for $1,000 and I have nothing else, I'm perfect everywhere else, like I'm an 800 credit score, it may not be quite as bad. But if I'm a 640 or 680 and I have maxed out credit cards and I have 10 inquiries and I have 3 new accounts and I have recent slow pays, and now all of a sudden I have a new collection, man, it throws the credit bureau into a tizzy. Remember I said earlier, the FICO score is not a grade or a point average of like how you pay your bills. It's a predictor of whether you're going to pay or not. And the guy who files bankruptcy, before he files bankruptcy, Guess what he has? Collections, charge-offs, inquiries because he's trying to get more money, maxed out accounts, slow pays. True, right? So then you got the guy who maybe same thing happens to new collection. Maybe he's not maxed out, and maybe he doesn't have the inquiries. So instead of the score plummeting, shit, me and Brittany see like 200 points all the time. It's crazy. But like when there's not that much bad going on, it's not near as like harmful, right? So and they know that these collection companies know that they want to make it new, they want to show it new because they know it hurts the score, and they know they can get away with when you try to dispute it, your letter's probably gonna get kicked out anyway. So like they could care less. Worst case scenario, they have to change it back. But when it's hurting you worse, you're more likely to pay it off. So they want to keep the pain, like they want to keep their foot on your throat. That's just the truth of it, right? So, and then also paying collections. You would be shocked. Like FICO cares more about the date of an account and specifically a collection or charge off. They care more about um, that than they do anything else, right? So like our advice is never, ever, ever pay a collection account without doing your homework first. Why? Because you may have a collection account. Like one example, medical collections under $500 can no longer be reported on the credit report, paid or not, right? So, I mean, why would you pay that? Why would you pay that? Um, if you pay a collection account, that does not mean it's going to be deleted from the credit report. What that means is the date of last activity is the date any money exchanged hands, right? So if you had an account that was 6 years old, you know, just because somebody tells you that's what's hurting your score, that's probably not what's hurting your score if it's that old. So whenever you renew that debt, now FICO sees that as a brand new collection account. They don't care that it's $0. They don't care that it was $700. They care that it's a brand new collection account. So, you know, you got to be very, very careful on paying collections without doing your homework first. There's a lot of times paying collections makes sense. A lot of times, there's a lot of times like paying old charge off. That's a different story. You should pay those. But like just to pay a collection account, you got to be very, very cautious in doing that. And they say they'll give you a deletion letter. There's no such thing as a deletion letter. The credit bureaus have a subscriber agreement with the collection companies that specifically says you can't use us to collect money. That's not what this is about. You're going to report factual, accurate information. If you get caught removing crap and deleting stuff because they paid it, then we're going to take your rights away from you. And without that, they can't do business. If you can't threaten to put it on my credit report, then I don't care. Like whatever. Seriously, right? So when a collection company loses its rights to report to the bureaus, like they're out of business, man. They're done. They're over with. So they don't do it. They'll say they're going to do it. They'll say they're going to, oh yeah, we're going to show it as a zero balance. And they do. What they do is they go and they show it as updated with a zero balance, and it looks like a brand new collection. So you got to really do your homework on that. Timely information also means that accounts can only be reported for 7 to 10 years. This is on negative. Positive accounts can report as long as the data keeps getting furnished and sent. And you want that because the older accounts, 20 and 30 years, people with an 800 credit score, they either have an open 20-year-old account or a closed 30-year-old account. So you want the positive to stay as long as you possibly can because it helps you. It also helps your average age of account and stuff. But on the negative side, 7 years is all they can report unless it's a public record, which would be like a bankruptcy, a judgment, stuff like that that's like filed at the courthouse. So that's 10 years. Everything else, collections, charge-offs, repos, all that stuff is 7 years. So as a recap of our 3 things that you can do right now to increase your credit score by removing negative entries from your report, the credit bureaus can only report per the FCRA 100% accurate information. You can ask to see proof per on a letter. And I mean, you can just like you could handwrite when a crayon on a bar napkin and say, hey, verify that this account number on this Sears account is this. Seriously, like those are the best letters because they don't think it's coming from me. They don't think it's coming from a credit bureau company or whatever. So make sure it's accurate, make sure it's verifiable, and make sure it's timely. Those are the three like main. That's what we base every dispute that we send out on. And again, my head of my processing, she's actually a paralegal, and we do legal factual disputes is what we do. We don't just say, oh, it's not mine or whatever, that because that's a lie. And when you get caught in that, then you have nowhere to go. Right. So our next Rob, we good? We on time?
We are, yeah, we're looking good, man. We're making good
I'm trying
time.
to, I mean, I'm going quick, I know, but like we've got a bunch of information
we,
y'all need to share. And I know we may have some questions and we'll get to them here at the end. And if we, for some reason, we run out of time, then at the end of the deal, I'll give you Rob's information, how you can get a hold of him, how you can get a hold of me. And man, y'all feel free to like DM us or call us.
If we run out of time, I was gonna say, yeah, send me a DM and I can just get back to you right away.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll put his stuff up here at the end. So let's talk about credit 101. We've been talking about FICO. Let's talk a little bit about credit score makeup. So the largest part of your score is your payment history. 35% of your score, so basically 1/3, a little bit over, is based on how you have paid bills from today backwards. And do you have any negative or positive accounts from today backwards? That makes up 35% of your score. Charge-offs, collections, slow pays, open accounts, closed accounts, positive accounts. But the emphasis is on the past delinquencies. It's past history, but delinquencies is really what carries the most weight. So to affect 35% of your score, or to make your score go up 1/3, or of the 850 points available, let's call it 900 to make it simple, 1/3 of that would be 300. So like 300 points of your credit score is coming from your past credit history, charge-offs, collections, paid accounts, old paid accounts, closed accounts. But again, the delinquencies hold the most weight. So if you want to clean up that 1/3, that whatever 300 points worth, then you would dispute any negative items, which we talked about how to dispute those. So 35% is past delinquencies. 30% apostrophe S, 30% is revolving debt ratio. So another third. So now if I'm working on removing negative items and you're working on paying your debt down, together we're working on 2/3 of your credit report, right? So while you're doing your credit repair and working on your credit report and removing those negative items, collections, charge-offs, whatever it may be, then also you want to be paying down your revolving debt. And your revolving debt utilization is your debt ratio. It's your limits to your balance ratio. So like if I have a $10,000 credit card and I'm using 5,000 of it, I have 5,000 of the limit used and 5,000 available, then I'm at 50%, right? So I would be at 50% utilization. Well, if I throw another card in there at $1,000, I'm at 2,000 total. So now all of a sudden I drop down to 25% or whatever that number, I made that up, whatever that comes to, right? So 30% of your credit score comes from all of your revolving credit cards, your Visas, MasterCards, Victoria's Secret, store type cards, JCPenney cards, if they're even still in business, I don't know. American Express cards, all that. Actually, American Express is a charge card, not a credit card. It's not in the revolving debt ratio, so I take that one back. But all of your other credit cards are what's included. Your installment credit or your installment balances and limit ratio, they stand on their own through installment utilization as well. So that's why when you pay off a car, when you have like a year left, your score will drop because you had such good utilization on your installment and you paid it off and your score drops because now you don't have good utilization on it. So revolving is holds much more weight. 1/3 of it of your score comes from revolving. 15% of your credit score comes from the average age of credit file. That's why you don't want to open too many new accounts. Like our suggestion is you open one new account per year if you need them. Um, because like if you have a 10-year-old account, one account, and you open a new one, you just cut that average down to 5. So in people with 800 credit scores, they have an average age of account of like 16 or 18 years. They have an open account that's either 20 years or a closed account that's 30, one or the other, or both, but their average age of account's not that long. Number 4, your mix of credit is 10% of your score. So again, if it's 850 is the high, 10% is 85 points, comes from your mixture of credit. FICO, the FICO genie is what I call her. FICO likes to see 2 revolvings, maybe 2 or 3 revolvings, 1 installment, 2 to 3 revolvings, 1 installment. So like what we do with our clients who we're removing bad, if we're going to add good, we have like a list of different like credit cards that we're affiliated with. They're very, very simple to get approved through. We also have some installment accounts. So we'll tell our clients like, okay, while we're removing these 20 bad items or whatever, like you need to open up this card and this card, and then I want you to open up this little installment account or whatever the case may be. So like that credit mix could be an extra 85 points. And then number 5 are your inquiries. And it's really crazy because like when you have a bad mix of credit and a bad average age of file and you have like terrible utilization, you're maxed out and you've got past delinquencies, well then inquiries matter more than than you would think. My credit score last I checked a couple days ago was like, I don't know, 834 or something. And an inquiry or 50 does not affect my credit score. FICO is not concerned about my inquiries because I don't carry a bunch of big balances. I've got, you know what I'm saying? I've got deep history. My mom put me on her American Express card when I was 16 years old, and it still reports to all 3 of my credit reports. So I've got deep history. So they don't care about my inquiries. But if I got 1 new collection, 2 new collections, and I had a slow pay, and I maxed out 2 credit cards, then my score is going to drop. Then those inquiries are going to affect me even more. I could probably even have a collection or a slow pay, and it's really not going to affect my score that much. Not what you would think, because it's so out of the ordinary. You know what I'm saying? So the average age of file and your depth and all that stuff, like that's a huge thing long term. That's why like your grandpa and grandma have 800 credit scores. Not that I'm a grandpa, but that's why they have 800 credit scores, because they've got such great depth and history. They don't have a lot of inquiries because they don't need money. They got cash in the bank. They only, like get something when they need it. Their average age is old. Their mix is perfect because they probably have a car and 2 or 3 credit cards. I mean, so you got to just follow what an 800 score looks like, really. So in recapping all that, and then the fun part, we're fixing to get into our test, our myths. To recap that, your credit score components are your past due delinquencies. How do you handle that? You dispute stuff. To fix your credit, you do 3 things. You remove bad, you add good, the right good, and then you just like pay on time, and you'd be shocked at how fast you can go from a 580 to a 620. In fact, Rob's got a great story about that. But past delinquencies is the biggest part of it. Debt ratio is the second. Your average age of file is third, 15%. And then your mix of credit and inquiries are both 10%, 10%. So anyway, I hope that all made sense. I know we're blowing through this stuff, but again, we'll try to catch some questions here in a minute if we can. If not, you guys can DM us. So Rob, with that being said, man, let's get going on your credit myths.
Let's do it. See if you're as good as you say you are.
I already read them.
Oh, did you? I got the answers though. So am I going to give you a grade? You already know them, probably.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're waiting for me?
Yeah.
My bad.
All right, let me pull this up real fast. All right. Is it true that the government or that the credit bureaus are government agencies?
That is not true, Rob. And that's a great question, because the credit bureaus actually supposedly give more money to the Hill or Congress than any other industry. And they are for-profit, private sector corporations, all three separate from one another, and they're not owned by the government like the post office is not. People think it is, but it's really not. So no, they're not.
Okay. All right. Now, true or false? Checking my own credit report harms my credit score.
Depends on where you check it from. If I'm a mattress salesperson and I go in the back room and I pull my credit and Haverty's or whatever, it shows an inquiry, then absolutely. But if you go to annual credit report, or like we have a monitoring site, it's called Smart Credit. You can go in there like every day and pull your credit. It's your legal right to look at your credit, know what's in your credit. But I can't have my mortgage guy friend or my buddy who sells cars down the street pull my credit, because that would affect your score. Was I right?
That's right, man. Yeah, that was a good one. That was perfect. Yeah. All right. My lender can use the credit report I obtain from annual credit report.
Your lender to purchase a house or a vehicle or probably anything else could not use a report that you obtain from annual credit report because it does not have a FICO score on it. The credit bureaus are the credit bureaus. They gather and share the data. Fair Isaac Corporation or Vantage, which is a different score owned by the credit bureaus, they're complete separate companies. So a lender can't use your annual credit report to look at your FICO score because there is no FICO score on an annual credit report. Number 4.
All right. True or false? Your income makes a difference in your credit score.
Your income does not make a difference on your credit score. You may get turned down for purchasing a house because of a budget issue, but that's a complete different story than like your credit score. It has nothing to do with your credit score. Your income does not reflect on the credit score. Your balance to limit ratio does, but like those are different. You'll hear people talking about ratios and stuff like those for utilization. That's all different. Your income is not on the credit report, period, and has nothing to do with your credit score. Number 5.
All right. FICO scores are locked in for 6 months, and that they change every 6 months.
Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be just perfect? So think about that. Like the lender is like, okay, so like, what did you do 6 months ago? No,
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that. It's in real time. They're not locked in for 6 months. They probably do change every 6 months, but they damn near change every day, or they can. So that's an absolute myth, and we hear that actually a lot. So that's not true. Number 6.
All right. Too many accounts will hurt. Therefore, you must close accounts.
You never want to close accounts because you have to look at like what an 850 credit score has, and they have aged accounts. So when you close accounts, not only does it hurt your age and average age of account, but it also could hurt your utilization, because if I have $1,000 limit credit card that's maxed out at 1,000, and then I have another 1,000 one over here that gives me 2,000 total, or 50% utilization. When I close that account, I'm now at 100% utilization. So I just cut my average age of account in half or whatever. I just increased my utilization by 100%. So it's not smart to close accounts. You never want to close accounts. So, but then you have to look at the way this is worded. Too many accounts will hurt. Too many accounts being opened at the same time will hurt. A good rule of thumb is you do not want to open more than one account a year. And I get that you need to have like 2 or 3 inquiries, but there's a difference in 2 or 3 car inquiries, and then all of a sudden with that, there's 2 or 3 credit card inquiries, and then there's 2 or 3 furniture store inquiries. No, I'm talking like total. So too many accounts hurt because of the inquiries. Too many accounts being open at the same time shows distress. Too many accounts being open at the same time kills your age of account on the credit report. So like that's kind of a 2-part question, if that makes sense. That's a great question. That was a good one, Rob.
Yeah, that was a good
Number
answer.
7.
All All right, paying off an old collection or charge off will increase your credit score.
That's one of the biggest myths that are out there in the collection companies have been preying on people using this tactic like for years and years and years. So FICO cares more about the age and date of a collection or charge off than it does the amount or balance or original amount, right? So, and then furthermore, a charge off has more weight than a collection account. So paying off an old charge off will usually increase your score because once you pay off a charge off, it shows a zero balance and it shows zero balance current was 90 days late. So that's the way FICO reads a paid off charge off, as opposed to a $500 charge off, which is like a hole in a bucket, which means when you fill it with water, it can only go so high. So if you have like balanced charge offs, your score can only go so high because you still owe that money. It's a delinquent account by definition. That's exactly what it is, right? So paying off an old charge off will help your score 9 times out of 10. Paying off an old collection 9 times out of 10 will not, because you're making them look newer than what it actually is. On collections, they don't care about the balance, they care about the date. So it's a huge myth that paying off an old collection or charge off will automatically increase your credit score. Before you do that, you need to do your homework, and don't ever believe anybody that tells you that they'll give you a deletion letter once you pay it off, because once you pay it off, they send you a letter that says the collection has been paid off. And so what happens is the credit bureau updates it to a zero balance. They don't remove it. It's now a zero balance. So you got to really, really be careful with that.
Good answer.
Credit myth number 8.
All right, as long as you pay off your credit card balances, your scores will go up.
That's absolutely not true. Again, I wish it was that easy, because there is more to the score than just your balances of your credit cards. Remember, it looks at age, date, length, delinquencies. It doesn't only, just because you're making you pay your credit card balances off, or you make your credit card, just because you make your payments on time doesn't mean your score is going to go up. Just because you pay them off monthly doesn't mean your score is going to go up, because you may have collections, you may have charge-offs, you may have a ton of inquiries, you may have a bankruptcy. You know what I'm saying? So just because I pay my current obligations on time does not mean that my score is going to go up automatically. Absolutely not. Credit myth number 9.
All right, adding a consumer statement to your credit file makes a difference.
It absolutely does not make a difference. It's actually annoying to creditors because it's very victimized looking. And I have a lot of friends that are lenders. I've sold thousands of mobile homes, and I was I was Ford Motor Credit's largest lender in the manufactured housing business for like 7, 8 years in a row. And I'm telling you, I would have promotions with people with 500 credit scores and get them approved, and I'd have people at that same promotion with a 650, and they would have an excuse for every medical bill or doctor bill. And my lender would look at me and say, I'm not doing that deal, because the first time would get tough, they're going to look themselves in the mirror and turn around and run and take off and go back home and live with mama. I'm out. Seriously. So adding a consumer statement doesn't do anything for the score. It doesn't change anything. Nobody cares. The only time it's ever read is for lenders, usually, who are looking for a reason to turn down a deal. When they see that, they just really, really dislike it. So adding a consumer statement not only will it raise your score, it could cost you an approval down the road. Number 10.
If I get one credit bureau to remove an item from my credit report, all the other bureaus will remove it automatically.
That is not true, because they're all 3 separate, for-profit, independent, individual, private sector companies. Like TransUnion's its own company, Equifax is its own company, and Experian stand on their own. So no, just because Equifax didn't get verification or whatever doesn't mean Experian did. Normally, like 90% of the things that we get deleted on one report will get deleted on all 3. And if I get something deleted on one report and we get it verified on the other 2, our next, instead of going straight to the method of verification, asking to see that, we'll send in like TransUnion report and say, hey, what's going on? Like they recognized that this was inaccurate or unverifiable and removed it, and you guys aren't. Like, this makes me very angry. Like, what's up with that? And that's a very good tactic to get things removed. But they don't have to. Like, that's not the case. So it's not an automatic deal.
Okay.
Credit myth number 11.
Multiple auto loan inquiries increase will hurt your score for each one.
They could, but not necessarily, because FICO allows for what's called rate shopping. And what you can rate shop with are 3 different items. Actually really 4, but autos, student loans, mortgage inquiries, all within the first within 45 days rather of the first one count as one inquiry, because FICO allows for rate shopping. So if I'm a consumer and I go to a car lot and they pull up my credit and today's 10/1 or whatever, like October 1st, whatever, then I could go let 50 more people pull my credit between now and October 15th, and they're going to be listed. But they're considered they're what you would consider a soft inquiry. They're listed, but they're all counted as one inquiry. That holds true with student loans, because people with 700 credit scores or above, they shop rates. There's like, I shop rate. I'll let you pull my credit to see that I got an 8 in front of my score, and to get you serious. And it won't affect me however many inquiries I have, especially if they're like mortgage, auto, student loan, whatever. Furthermore, utility inquiries, electric companies, gas companies, water companies, a lot of rental unit companies, when they pull your credit, again, it'll show, but it's a soft inquiry. Utility inquiries do not affect your credit score. They'll show, but they do not affect your credit score. The only time a loan inquiry could hurt you, or a mortgage inquiry, or a student loan, like if you're in the private sector of student loans, like if you go to Bank of America, they're not even, that's Chase now, aren't they? Or Chase, or Bank, or whoever it may be, then they have to be set up subscriber wise as a mortgage subscriber, or an automobile finance subscriber, or a student loan whatever subscriber. So like if Chase is doing mortgages and cars and student loans and credit cards and personal loans, and there's a Chase inquiry that your car dealer turns you into, then that's all bets off. That's a whole new inquiry. But the majority of car dealers and mortgage companies, for sure, in student loan companies, but the majority of car lenders, they may be going to Chase or Bank of America or whoever, but they're going through their like automotive division, which is who's set up as a subscriber as a car finance company. So like if you go to a credit union, that's like a bank. That's like a bank, right? So you can go to your credit union and have them, or a dealer can turn you into a credit union, but they're not set up as a car finance company. So now that rule wouldn't apply if you got it. Am I making sense on that, Rob?
Yeah.
Like it
Yep.
wouldn't, they have to be set up as a subscriber, and then you've got a blessing for rate shopping for 45 days. So I'm not sure if I butchered that question or not. So let's just go on to number 12.
All right. It will take me 7 years to improve my credit.
No, absolutely not.
It's a long time. We'd all have bad credit if that was the case.
Yeah, it's and the reason why is because what we've been going over. It's your legal right to get proof and ask to see proof of any account, any line item of an account. It's my right to say, is it accurate? Is it verifiable? Is it timely? So through the dispute process, it absolutely, like, it does not take 7 years for something to come off your credit report. We get stuff that's 2 months old to 6.5 years old off. So that's a huge myth. So with that being said, what was my score?
You got 100. Got them all right, man.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
I'm glad I looked before. So, and y'all, we're going to wrap this up real quick, but I want to tell you guys, Rob and I were talking before the show. Rob's been with me for a while now as a portfolio manager. He introduced me, but I didn't introduce him. Rob and I hooked up like, I don't know, years and years ago. We've known each other for 5+6 years or something like that.
Yeah, five,
In
6 years.
fact, I did his credit repair years ago. And Rob came to me he's got a cutest wife you've ever seen in the world. He's great family, but he came to me, he's like, look, man, like I'm ready to buy a house. And I'm not sure what your credit score was. I'm thinking like mid 550 or something like that.
I mean, it was a 498. I'm
Well,
kind of
I'm
embarrassed
just
to say
giving
that.
you benefit of the doubt. Okay.
It was below
So,
5, yeah.
so 498. And what is it today?
Let me check real fast. Hold on. I can tell you the exact number. Right now, I'm sitting at a 732.
That's so strong, buddy. Congratulations on that.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
And he's actually he's that because it just came down because he just bought a new truck. And hell, now you got what, 40,000 worth of credit cards? I mean,
45.
not in debt, but I'm just saying available. And
45.
45, nice, man. So
Went up you on that one.
and so, you know, when I'm not sure what finally kicked you in the seat of the pants to like make a change or make a difference, but I'm curious, man. Like this has happened over, I don't know, the last 3-4 years, whatever it's been. I've personally watched you go from like that 498 to, I think you've been as high as a 760 or something.
Yeah, I don't think I haven't fallen below 7 since. I mean, it goes up and down based on credit usage and stupid stuff, but yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
fallen below 7.
But that's cool because like when you're a 760 or 750, when your stuff's paid off, whenever you use your credit, you're still like a 710, you're still good
Yeah.
or whatever. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
it's
saying?
strong.
So like that's the blessing of it. Yeah. So like in I'm not sure what it was that, but
Man,
like seriously, like what did it do for in what I've seen like all kinds of changes and stuff, right? But like I mean, I went through the same situation when I was carrying a bankruptcy on my shoulders and a 400 credit score, man, it was heavy. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It was heavy.
dude, I
And
think what it
once I
was, I think what it was for me was, what did it is like my car that I got before I signed up with you, dude. I was paying like 26% APR.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the first thing I did when my score got when I was done with your program was when I bought that black Jeep, and I think it was 5 or 6%. I think because my score wasn't perfect, but man, I'm saving 20% now on interest. Like it was insane. And then
Yeah,
that
and man, and I'm like I brag about it. I'm super proud of him just because like I've been part of that journey, but like I'm not sure if y'all can see this here. I'll show y'all real quick. I'll show you guys his. I'm gonna show you his truck because it's that badass.
yeah, I got a low rate on it, man. I think I got it for I think I got 4. It was right when the rates got bad because of COVID, man. But I think I got 4% interest on that one. So that's a long way from 26%.
Let me go find you, Rob. All right, so actually here, if you guys aren't already friends with Rob, it's at 700 Rob. Isn't that your Facebook deal at 700
Like a
Rob?
handle 700 Rob, yeah, 700
Yes,
Rob.
you can just go to Rob Goodwin, or you can just put it at 700 Rob and it'll pop up. But like, yeah, I'll show y'all his truck real quick. All right, this is it.
Yeah.
It's a huge magnet of his business card. And look how nice this truck is. You know, I love it. So yeah,
Yep.
man, like it didn't happen overnight and all that stuff. So, but like nothing good does, you know. So anyway, uh, Pop, you had a question, I think maybe, and I want to recap real quick what we went over. Again, the 3 items: accurate, timely, verifiable. Then we went through the score. Then we went through our credit myths. And you know, if you're like me, I don't know, Rob, what you would have paid. I know what I charged you, but I don't know what you would have paid to go from a 498 to a 750. I don't know what that looks like or what that's worth going from an apartment to I do actually, but like to me, it's really priceless, right? It's really priceless.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we talked about
so
that.
it's so confusing that if you try to do this on your own, man, it's time consuming, but man, you could do yourself more harm than good. example, like whenever you dispute online and it comes back verified, you cannot ask for 18 months. You can't redispute it nor ask to see the method of verification. So like I could pull my own teeth, but I'd probably do damage. I could mow my own grass and change my own oil. I'd probably do damage. So like my time's more valuable like to me than to do that. So like if you're like that and if you are to the point where like I'm ready to go, man, I want to get like I want to make some changes or whatever. So I'm gonna offer you guys either one of my top tier programs, my best programs, which include our VIP membership site, a workbook, 100% unlimited audits, unlimited letters, access to my paralegal, my membership director, my top credit coach, Gabby. Hell, my wife's a credit coach too. So like you have access to our team when you sign up with us. We normally charge, plus on our homeownership program, we guarantee our clients that it's a 6-month program, but we guarantee them within 120 days that we'll raise their credit score high enough for them to be able to purchase a home. So that's the guarantee on that one. Otherwise, our fast track program is not really a guarantee. It's just that it's the same process, no guarantee. We normally charge $200 enrollment and $200 a month, which we do bi-weekly payments of 100. So it's normally 200 enrollment, 100 bi-weekly, 200 a month. For anybody that's on this call, I'll knock off $175. And we don't have a lot of spread in this, y'all, like a lot of money in this. Really, people think we do, but we don't. So because like our certified letters cost $7.70 a letter or something, it's insane. And we like our costs are crazy, especially with all the stuff that's going on. So through Friday, I was going to say, like, if you sign up tonight, then I'll do this, but like, I'll do it through Friday for folks that maybe don't get paid till Friday, whatever. But like through Friday, I'll knock off 175 and it'll be 175 enrollment and then $175 a month bi-weekly payments, which would make that like, what's that come to? Like 92.50? No.
Yeah, it's like
I'm
just
going the
under
wrong way. 72.50. It's like around whatever that comes to. 175 divided by 2.
Yeah, 87.50. Yeah.
87.50. That's close. So if that's something that you guys might like to do, let us know by Friday. You can contact me directly on Messenger or whatever. You can also call me at the office. My number is 972-279-0444. I'll put it in the chat before I end this thing. And then Rob, what's your phone number and your extension?
My office number and extension?
Yes.
Or just my extension. My extension is 111.
So Rob's is 972-279-0444, extension 111. So you can either call him, you can, like the best place to find us, we're on Facebook all the time. We do a lot of stuff, a lot of business through Facebook Messenger. We do a lot of stuff in our groups and stuff. So you can also hit us up. If you're here, you saw us on Facebook probably. So you can hit us up on Facebook at Rob's at it would be www.facebook.com/700Rob. But you can just go to Facebook and put in 700 Rob and he's going to pop up. You can put in 700 CEO, I'm going to pop up. So, or if you want to replay, if you'll DM Rob after this, we'll once we end this, I'll save it and then it takes a minute to process it and all that stuff. And then if you want a replay of this, then DM Rob and he'll send you a link to the replay of it. And then his number and stuff's all on that, but I'll also put it in the chat and stuff. And then all you gotta do is, like I said, DM him, he'll send you a copy of the recording and stuff. So with that being said, somebody had a question. Who was it? Pop, did you have a question or did we get it?
Yeah, I did. I just wanted to get clarification. You made a good point about when letters are being sent out, the credit repair company will actually look at where you live versus where the letter originated from. And if it comes from like somewhere that's clearly not your house, then they're looking at that as, frivolous. How do you guys, as a credit repair company, circumvent that? What's your way around that so that your letters don't get, automatically seen as frivolous?
It's as simple as leaving the return address off of it, because they don't scan the letter, they scan the envelope. If they were really on top of their game, but the steps are there's too many steps, they should scan the customer's address from the inside of the letter to the postmark, but they don't, because it would take a whole nother process of putting a empty envelope in a scanner and a letter in a scanner, and they don't even do that. So we leave the envelope off. I used to use a mail service company, which like a bulk service, like mail houses. So, and this place, what they had Pitney Bowes postage meters for every city and county in the world, in the states. I mean, seriously. So like if the return address was Philadelphia, then they would have a Pitney Bowes postmark stamp with Philadelphia as the post office. That's a little bit kind of squirrely, so a lot of them have quit doing that. So now we just leave the address off. The other thing I do is we fax a lot of disputes. And when you fax a dispute, you take a lot of stuff out of play. Now I've got verification that fax machine accepted, or that my fax went through. I've got an okay that it went through. So I know, so now you get 30 days. So I know you received it. And plus then there's no, you can't, the OCRs are unable to read as much of the information through the fax for whatever reason. So we fax a lot of our disputes, to be honest with you, and our results are really good as a result, because like the verification process for them becomes much more difficult. What else we do is we'll like the bureaus scan, they use what's called Metro 2. The credit bureaus scan for form letters and similar words or whatever they want to see, like handwritten disputes is what they're looking for. But it doesn't have to be handwritten because the environment that we live in today. So what we do is we do not want our letters, even though we do Metro 2 disputes and factual disputes, we don't want our letters going through the scanner. But when they go through the scanner, you've got a chance of something being picked up, a word, a phrase, a common denominator, something's going to be picked up. So what we'll do when we send in our letters, we're good, y'all. We're really good at what we do. We'll take, like, my girls will take like their driver's license and their copy of their social and their utility bill. And I swear to God, if you come to my office, you'll trip out, because they like take them with a stapler. They go, da, 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 da. They put probably 20 staples, like they start stapling like crazy. So it would take me longer to pull out the staples to run this letter through a scanner than it would to me just put it in the bin for somebody to read. When you get past the scanners and it's hand reading, it's like, it's people that like, they're just trying to get through today, and deletions don't get things brought up or put heat on you. Not deletions do. You know what I'm saying? So nobody ever complains about something that gets deleted. Like nobody else knows. The consumer never complains about that. It's when it doesn't get deleted. So if you can get through those scanners and you get a letter in someone's hand, you've got like a 90% better chance of getting that item deleted. The other things they do, so like we'll do that. We'll also send in letters, and we'll take like a Sharpie and we'll circle like where it says, thank you, have a nice day, or in regards to, we'll circle with a Sharpie like a line or two, to where like one or two of the words are just a little bit blacked out. You can still read it, whatever, from the circle. And the scanners, the OCRs will kick it back. They'll say we can't read that or whatever. Also, pink highlighter can't be read by a scanner. It blacks it out. In fact, if you don't believe that, go take a highlighter and highlight something in yellow, and then highlight it. That's why the universal color is yellow. Then go highlight it in blue or pink, or the majority of other colors. Pink does it. And then when you like fax it or scan it, or if it gets read through an OCR, optical character recognition software, it blacks it out. It looks like somebody put a, like some of y'all that are old like me, you'll know what I'm talking about, because we used to get faxes where people would be like, you know, highlighting stuff, and you're like, shit, I can't read it, man. You're doing just the opposite of what you're trying to do. So like we do stuff like that. So, you know, there's a lot of little tips and tricks, and it's sneaky. Yeah, it's sneaky, but like, I'll tell you what else is sneaky. It's sneaky whenever the federal government gives you the ability to say, I don't think this letter is true. Kiss my ass. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to answer it. That's sneaky. And like, that's what, like, I think that again, you got to look at the amount of money that they give to Congress, and the taxes they pay, and what, you know, what they do. They seriously, it's like the wild west with the credit bureaus. They're allowed, one of very few industries that are allowed to get away with and do anything that they want to. They never, like, maybe they get hammered for like a couple $1 million, but like these companies they're billion dollar annual companies, man. It's insane. In fact, the dispute process used to be the most expensive or costly part of the credit bureaus, and they've actually turned the dispute process into being, all three bureaus, into being the #1 profit center for their companies. So what they do when you dispute an item, they charge back the creditor like 52 cents, and then they outsource it. If it has to get hand read, it gets outsourced to India, where they pay like a dime or a nickel, or it goes through an OCR, and their cost of an OCR is like less than a penny. So they're making like almost 50 cents on a dispute. If the customer comes back within 30 days of receiving the response, and it's redisputed, the bureaus can't recharge the creditors. If it goes over 30 days, they can. That's why they drag results out. So like if you want to get things deleted, like you send a letter, they come back, they say it's verified, you go, bullshit, what's the method of verification? And you get it right back in front of them. And it's fixing to start costing them money, because now they can't, it's still going to cost them their nickel or a dime, but they can't charge back 52 cents like they could the first time, unless that response is over 60 days old. Then the bureau, 30 for the dispute, 30 for the response, then they think that it's a brand new dispute, so they're able to charge them again. So man, it's like anything, it's all like what you know or who you know or whatever. Like it's just another game, and like we feel like we cracked the code and we help. Like I can't guarantee results or any of that stuff. Like it's accurate information, you know what I'm saying? If it's not, then go sue them, whatever. But like I can't guarantee results, but I can guarantee this. Like we have an 80%, 84% deletion ratio. We don't get paid for removing items. I don't have a magic wand that I can delete things. If I did, I'd charge a hell of a lot more than whatever that comes to, $1,100. You know what I'm saying? So you're paying us to spend the time for our knowledge. I got paralegals that make like a lot of money that's who's doing the letters. Like they cost money, but we get results because they know what they're doing. So anyway, with that being said, like that's kind of our some of our tactics, and that's just a few. We've got hundreds of things like that we do. So anyway, if there's no more questions, then I appreciate y'all's time. I know Rob does. And then if anybody has any questions or anything, like I said, you can DM him at 700 Rob, or message me, or call either one of us. We've got one more question, Rob. Oh, okay, Pop said thanks. All right, cool, man. Thank you, man.
Thank you for coming out, man.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, if y'all need anything, let us know. We appreciate y'all's time. Sorry we ran a little bit over. We're 20 minutes over. So and I appreciate you guys hanging in there with us and going through this. I hope it helped. Y'all have an amazing rest of the week, and we'll talk soon.
All right, have a nice one, guys.
Later, Rob. Talk to you tomorrow.
Yep, see you, man.